I always thought betrayal would feel like a sudden knife in the back. Instead, it came with a smile, a hug, and my brother's familiar cologne as he embraced me after his presentation. Congratulations to the newest rising star in tech. Eric's voice boomed across the conference hall. ParkerConnect is officially live. My stomach dropped as I stared at the giant screen behind him. There it was. My app, my idea, my dream. But with his name plastered all over it. The same features I'd sketched out on napkins during our late-night brainstorming sessions. The same user interface I'd mocked up on my laptop while he nodded enthusiastically. All of it, stolen. I'm Marin, and until that moment, I was just another software developer with big dreams and an even bigger case of hero worship for my older brother. Isn't this amazing? My mom squeezed my arm, tears of joy in her eyes. Your brother's finally made it. I couldn't speak. The room spun as investors and tech journalists swarmed around Eric. My phone buzzed, a message from Abigail. Are you seeing this? Isn't this your app? 3 weeks earlier, Eric had sat across from me at our favorite coffee shop, his eyes bright with excitement. Come on, sis, let me help you develop this. We'll be unstoppable together. I don't know, I'd said, stirring my latte. I've been working on this concept for months. That's exactly why you need me. You're brilliant with code, but I know how to sell it. Trust me, this is what family does. The app needs to help people, Eric. It's not just about making money. He'd reached across the table, grabbing my hands. Of course, that's what makes it special. An app that connects women entrepreneurs with mentors and resources. It's genius. We'll change lives together. I can still feel the warmth of his hands on mine, the sincerity in his voice that made me want to believe him. Here's to the Parker siblings taking over Silicon Valley. He'd raised his coffee cup, and like an idiot, I'd clinked mine against it. Now, watching him work the crowd, I remembered all the times he'd borrowed my homework in high school, claiming he'd just use it for reference. How he'd always managed to take credit for our joint projects, his charm making everyone forget who'd done the actual work. Eric, a reporter thrust a microphone toward him. How did you come up with such an innovative concept? He flashed his perfect smile. Sometimes the best ideas come when you least expect them. I was thinking about how many talented people out there just need the right connections. My best friend Abigail appeared beside me, gripping my arm. Say something. Tell them the truth. But my throat had closed up. The room felt too hot, too crowded. My mother was beaming with pride, already planning how to spend her share of Eric's future millions. And of course, Eric continued, none of this would be possible without my amazing family's support. My sister Marin, everyone, the best debugger in the business. The spotlight found me. Applause erupted. Eric gestured for me to join him on stage, his expression daring me to contradict him. I forced a smile and walked up, my heels clicking against the hardwood floor like a countdown to disaster. Eric threw an arm around my shoulders, pulling me close. I couldn't have done it without you, sis, he whispered in my ear, and for a second I caught something in his voice. Was it guilt? Triumph? We're going to be rich. How could you? I whispered back, maintaining my smile for the cameras. It's business, Marin. You understand? I'll make it up to you. The flash of cameras nearly blinded me as Eric raised our joined hands. To family, he shouted, and the crowd echoed his words. I stood there, frozen in time, watching my brother bask in the glory of my stolen dreams. But something else was forming beneath my shock and hurt, a quiet, steely determination. Eric might have stolen my idea, but he didn't steal my ability to create something better. As I stepped off the stage, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Cora, one of the women who'd tested my original prototype. Marin, what happened? This isn't what we worked on. This isn't what you promised us. I typed back with shaking fingers. Don't worry, this isn't over. Looking up, I caught Eric's eye across the room. He raised his champagne glass in a mock salute, probably thinking he'd won. He had no idea what was coming, because while he might have taken my app, he'd forgotten the most important thing about me. I never quit. And now, I had nothing left to lose. He's going to make us all rich. Mom gushed over Sunday dinner, waving her fork enthusiastically. Eric says we'll never have to worry about money again. I pushed my untouched lasagna around my plate, my appetite long gone. 2 weeks had passed since the launch, and my family had transformed into Eric's personal cheerleading squad. "Did you see the download numbers?" Dad chimed in. 100,000 in the first week alone. My phone buzzed beneath the table. Another message from a beta tester asking what had happened to the original features they'd loved. I'd been getting dozens of these daily. "Actually," I cleared my throat, "those numbers are inflated. He's using paid downloads to boost rankings. The real user engagement is—" "Oh, Marin," Mom interrupted. "Don't be jealous. Your brother's finally found his calling. You should be happy for him." "Happy?" The word came out sharper than I intended. "He stole my work." The clatter of forks stopped. Dad's expression hardened. "That's a serious accusation, young lady." "It's not an accusation, it's the truth. I have proof. The original designs, the code—" "Enough!" Dad slammed his hand on the table. "Eric told us you might react this way. He said you've been struggling with his success." I stared at them, dumbfounded. "You knew? He told you about this?" Mom reached across the table, patting my hand. "Sweetie, he explained everything. How you helped him brainstorm but couldn't handle the pressure of actually launching. How you're having trouble accepting that he took your rough idea and made it viable." The room started spinning. I yanked my hand away and stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "I need some air." Outside, the cool evening air did nothing to calm the storm in my chest. I pulled out my phone and called Abigail. "I'm coming over," she said before I could speak. "I've got wine and ice cream." 20 minutes later, we sat on her apartment floor, surrounded by empty Ben & Jerry's containers. "They're choosing him over me," I whispered, wiping away tears. "Again." "Show me the app," Abigail demanded, pulling out her phone. "Let's see what this genius brother of yours actually launched." We scrolled through ParkerConnect together. The sleek interface couldn't hide the hollow core. All style, no substance. The meaningful features I designed to help women entrepreneurs had been stripped away, replaced with premium subscriptions and aggressive upselling. "Look at these reviews," Abigail pointed. "Misleading advertising, hidden fees, terrible customer service. Your brother's running this like a cash grab." My phone lit up with a text from Eric. "Family dinner next week, bringing contracts. Time to get everyone their share." "He's bribing them," I said, throwing my phone aside, "making promises he can't keep." Abigail grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at her. "Then prove him wrong. Build it better." "What?" "Your original vision, the real app. Build it. Make it everything ParkerConnect pretends to be." I shook my head. "He's got a head start, market penetration, and zero substance." Abigail pulled out her laptop. "Look at these messages from your beta testers. They're not just disappointed, they're angry. They believed in your vision. They need what you promised them." A message popped up from Cora. "The new app is charging us $50 a month for basic features. This isn't helping anyone, it's exploiting them." Something clicked inside me. "You're right," I said, sitting up straighter. "Eric might have stolen my idea, but he doesn't understand the heart of it." "There's your advantage," Abigail grinned. "While he's busy making promises and counting money that doesn't exist yet, you can build something real." I grabbed my laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard as I pulled up my original code. "I'll need to start from scratch. New name, new interface. And this time," Abigail added, "we document everything, every line of code, every design decision." My phone buzzed again. Mom sending a screenshot of Eric's latest press coverage. "So proud of my son." I turned the phone face down. "They'll see," I said quietly. "Eventually they'll all see." "That's the spirit," Abigail raised her wine glass. "To karma and coding." As we clinked glasses, I felt the fog of betrayal lifting, replaced by clarity and purpose. Eric might have won the first round, but he'd forgotten something crucial. I was the one who'd spent countless hours understanding our users' needs, building relationships with beta testers, and crafting solutions that actually worked. "First thing tomorrow," I said, already sketching out a new workflow, "we start building. For real this time." "And your family?" I thought about the contracts Eric was preparing, the promises of wealth he couldn't possibly deliver. "They'll learn the hard way. Sometimes that's the only way people do." 3 months, 200 active users, and zero marketing budget, I announced, spinning my laptop around to show Abigail the analytics dashboard. "And look at these engagement rates. We were huddled in my tiny home office, which had become command central for what we'd codenamed Project Phoenix. Empty coffee cups and takeout containers littered every surface, testament to countless late nights of coding. And these reviews, Abigail scrolled through the feedback section. Finally, an app that actually delivers what it promises. Made my first business connection yesterday, worth every penny of the reasonable subscription fee. My phone pinged with a notification. Cora just closed another deal through the platform, I said, grinning. Her consulting business has tripled since she joined our beta. Speaking of Cora, Abigail pulled up an email. Have you seen what she posted about us? The blog post was already going viral in certain circles. Why EmpowerLink is everything ParkerConnect promised to be and more. We should be careful, I warned. Eric's lawyers can't touch us, Abigail finished. Your code is completely new, your features are unique, and unlike some people, you actually understand what women entrepreneurs need. My laptop chimed with an incoming video call from Cora. Her face filled the screen, practically glowing with excitement. Marin, you're not going to believe this. She held up her phone. I just got invited to speak at the Women in Tech Summit. They want to hear about how I built my business using EmpowerLink. That's amazing, Cora. But maybe don't mention your brother's app. Don't worry, I won't. But I am going to talk about how EmpowerLink's mentorship matching algorithm helped me find my first major client, and how the integrated project management tools literally saved my business. After we hung up, Abigail gave me a knowing look. You know what this means, right? You're going to have to go public soon. People are already asking who's behind EmpowerLink. I know. I pulled up our user growth chart, but I want to wait until we hit 1,000 active users. Make it impossible to ignore. My phone buzzed. Mom calling. I let it go to voicemail, like I had been for weeks. The last family dinner had been a disaster, with Eric passing out contracts that promised everyone shares in his company's inevitable success. Have you seen ParkerConnect's latest reviews? Abigail asked, pulling up their App Store page. The ratings had plummeted to 2 stars. Comments flooded in about hidden fees, broken features, and non-existent customer service. Eric's partner, Jasper, had been quoted in tech blogs defending their aggressive monetization strategy. Marin, a new voice made us both jump. Holly Black, the tech journalist, was calling. I've been trying to reach you. Care to comment on the rumors that you're behind EmpowerLink? How did you... I do my research. The coding style, the user-centric features, the emphasis on actual results over flashy marketing. It has your fingerprints all over it. Plus, I interviewed Cora. I took a deep breath. What exactly do you want to know? Everything. The real story behind ParkerConnect's launch, why you started EmpowerLink, where you see it going. Our readers love a good David versus Goliath story, especially when David is clearly winning. Abigail muted the call. This is it, your chance to tell your side. I thought about Eric, about my parents, about all the women who had trusted my original vision. Okay, I unmuted the call, but I do this on my terms. No sensationalism, no family drama. Just the truth about what these apps actually do for their users. Deal. Holly's smile was predatory. And perfect timing, too. I hear ParkerConnect is having some financial difficulties. After the call, I pulled up our development roadmap. Time to accelerate the launch of our new features. If we're going public, we need to be ready for the attention. And the users that'll come with it, Abigail added. You know Eric's going to lose his mind when he sees this article. Let him. I started typing, my fingers flying over the keyboard. I'm done hiding. It's time to show everyone what happens when you build something for the right reasons. My phone lit up with a calendar notification, Women in Tech Summit, 2 weeks. Below it, another missed call from Mom and a text from Eric. We need to talk, urgently. I ignored both, focusing instead on the stream of notifications from our user community. Women supporting women, building businesses, creating success stories. Exactly what I'd envisioned from the start. Ready or not, I muttered, accepting Holly's calendar invite for a formal interview. Here we come. ParkerConnect faces class action lawsuit. The headline screamed from my laptop screen. I hadn't even finished my morning coffee when Abigail burst into my office waving her phone. Have you seen the news? Your brother's company is imploding. I scrolled through the article, each paragraph more damning than the last. Misleading advertising, unauthorized credit card charges, data privacy violations, the list went on. Users are claiming they were charged thousands in hidden fees. Abigail read over my shoulder. And look who's jumping ship. A photo showed Jasper, Eric's business partner, leaving their office building with boxes. The quote beneath read, "I cannot comment on ongoing legal matters, but I want to distance myself from ParkerConnect's business practices." My phone rang, Eric's face flashing on the screen. For the first time in weeks, I answered. "Marin," his voice cracked. "You have to help me. These vultures are trying to destroy everything I've built." "Everything you stole, you mean?" "Look, I know I messed up, but Mom and Dad invested their retirement money. If this lawsuit goes through..." I nearly dropped the phone. "They what?" "Jasper said we needed capital fast. I promised I'd double their investment in 6 months." The room spun. I put the phone on speaker so Abigail could hear. "How much?" I demanded. 200,000. Eric's voice was barely a whisper. "But it's not just them. Aunt Sarah, Uncle Mike, everyone believed in me." Abigail mouthed, "Oh my God," as I gripped the edge of my desk. And now Jasper's threatening to release emails proving I knew about the billing issues months ago. He says he'll testify against me unless I pay him off. "You deserve it," I said, but my voice shook. "You did this to yourself. Please, sis, I know you're behind EmpowerLink. Everyone's talking about how amazing it is. Maybe we could merge the companies, find a way to..." "No." The word came out like a gunshot. "You don't get to steal my work twice." A notification popped up on my screen. Holly's article had just gone live. EmpowerLink, the app that's revolutionizing women's entrepreneurship. "I have to go," I told Eric. "I have an interview." "Marin, wait. What about Mom and Dad? They'll lose everything." I hung up, hands trembling. Abigail pulled up the lawsuit details on her tablet. 5,000 users joining the class action, she read. Potential damages in the millions. And look, their server costs are through the roof because they never optimized the code. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. I answered on speaker. "How could you?" she sobbed. "That article, making your brother look like some kind of criminal. He was trying to help the family. Mom, he lied to everyone. He took your retirement money. Because he believes in creating opportunities. Unlike you, hiding behind your computer, trying to tear him down with this copycat app." "Copycat?" I laughed bitterly. "Check the timestamps on the code, Mom. Check the original designs. Better yet, ask Eric about the napkin sketches he still has from our coffee shop meeting." "He said you'd say that. He warned us you'd try to..." A notification interrupted her. Another news alert. ParkerConnect CEO steps down amid fraud allegations. "Mom," I said quietly, "you need to get a lawyer, a good one. Not for Eric, for you and Dad." The line went dead. Abigail squeezed my shoulder. "Your interview with TechCrunch starts in 10 minutes, she reminded me. "What are you going to say?" I pulled up EmpowerLink's dashboard. Our user count had jumped another 15% overnight. Cora's success story had inspired dozens of similar testimonials. "The truth," I said, straightening my blazer, "about building something real versus chasing quick profits, about why integrity matters in tech." My phone lit up with a text from Holly. "ParkerConnect stock is tanking. Want to comment?" "No," I typed back, "but I'll talk about how EmpowerLink's ethical revenue model proves you can succeed without exploiting users." Abigail grinned. "Killing them with competence. I love it." As I prepared for the interview, another message came through, from Jasper. "We should talk. I have documents your lawyers might find interesting." "Forward it to legal," I told Abigail. "But don't respond. We're not playing their game." The video call notification popped up. Time to tell my story, not as Eric's bitter sister, but as the founder who chose to do things right from the start. "Ready?" Abigail asked. I looked at my screen, where user success stories continued to pour in. More than ready. It's time everyone knew what real empowerment looks like. And now, please welcome to the stage, the founder and CEO of EmpowerLink, Marin. The applause at the Women in Tech Summit was deafening. I walked onto the stage, my heart pounding but my steps steady. In the front row, Abigail gave me a thumbs up, while Cora beamed from her seat on the panel. 6 months ago, I began. I sat in a coffee shop watching someone steal my dream. Today, that dream has grown beyond anything I could have imagined. The giant screen behind me displayed our latest metrics: 50,000 active users, 98% satisfaction rate, and most importantly, over 300 successful businesses launched through our platform. But I'm not here to talk about numbers, I continued. I'm here to introduce you to Sarah, a single mom who used EmpowerLink to start her sustainable fashion line. Sarah stood up in the audience, wearing one of her own designs. Thanks to the mentorship matching feature, I connected with 3 experienced designers who helped me turn my sketches into a real business. Last month, we hit 6 figures in sales. The audience erupted in applause. I clicked to the next slide. And here's Maria, whose coding bootcamp found its first 50 students through our community boards. More success stories followed, each one representing what I'd originally envisioned: real people helping real people, no artificial growth metrics or predatory pricing needed. After the presentation, Holly cornered me backstage. "Your brother filed for bankruptcy this morning," she said, recording device ready. "Any comment?" "I'm focused on EmpowerLink's future," I replied, sticking to our PR strategy. "We just launched our new funding marketplace feature, connecting women entrepreneurs with ethical investors." "Speaking of funding," Holly pressed, "sources say your parents lost their retirement savings in ParkerConnect's collapse." Before I could respond, Cora appeared. "Marin, the investors are ready for you in the VIP lounge." I excused myself, grateful for the rescue, but Holly's words had hit home. That night, lying in my hotel room, I pulled up my banking app. The numbers were clear. I could help my parents recover what they'd lost. But should I? My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Saw you on the live stream. Your father and we should talk." Another message followed. "We were wrong." I was still staring at those 3 words when Abigail called. "Check your email," she practically screamed. "Forbes wants to feature you in their 30 under 30 list." "That's great," I said distantly, "but don't you dare feel guilty about your success," she cut in, knowing me too well. "You earned this, the right way." A notification popped up. Eric posting on LinkedIn. Seeking new opportunities. Lessons learned about ethical business practices and the true meaning of success. "He's trying to rebuild his image," Abigail scoffed. Classic Eric. "Maybe he really has learned something," I said, thinking about Mom's text. "Maybe, but that's not your problem. Have you seen today's user numbers? That speech you gave caused our biggest sign-up spike yet." I opened our analytics dashboard. She was right. Thousands of new users in just hours. The community was buzzing with activity, women helping women, exactly as I'd dreamed. My laptop chimed with an incoming video call from Cora. "You're not going to believe this," she said when I answered. "Remember that venture capital firm that wouldn't even look at my pitch 6 months ago? They just offered to lead my Series A round. Said they were impressed by my growth metrics on EmpowerLink. That's incredible." I felt a genuine smile spread across my face. "How much?" $2 million. And they're specifically interested because of our ethical supply chain model. The exact thing your brother said would never work. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet hotel room, thinking about choices and consequences. My phone buzzed again. A message from Dad this time. "We watched your speech. You've built something remarkable, sweetheart. We should have seen it sooner. I'm sorry." Tears blurred my vision as I typed back, "Coffee tomorrow? Just us?" "Yes, please," came the immediate response. So much to talk about. A notification from Holly popped up. "Working on a follow-up piece. How EmpowerLink's success redefines tech ethics. Interview tomorrow?" "Send me the questions," I replied, "but keep it focused on the future, not the past." Looking out at the city lights, I thought about Eric's LinkedIn post, about Mom's 3 words, about all the women whose lives were changing because I'd chosen to rebuild rather than retreat. My laptop chimed with another success story submission. Thanks to EmpowerLink, I found the courage to start over. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our best decisions. I couldn't have said it better myself. He's here. Abigail's voice crackled through my office intercom. "Should I send him up?" I stood at my window, looking down at the bustling street 15 floors below. Eric's familiar figure paced near the building's entrance, no longer wearing his signature designer suits. Instead, he was in jeans and a wrinkled button-down. "Give me a minute," I replied, straightening the Forbes magazine on my desk, the one with my face on the cover. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Be kind, he's trying." The coffee with my parents last week had been surprisingly healing. Dad had shown me their financial paperwork, and together we'd worked out a repayment plan that wouldn't completely drain their remaining savings. "Okay," I told Abigail. "Send him up." The elevator dinged, and Eric stepped into my office. He looked older, tired, the cockiness gone from his stance. "Nice view," he said, gesturing at the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Better than my old office." "What do you want, Eric?" He pulled out a familiar napkin from his pocket, the one where I'd first sketched my app idea. "Remember this?" "You kept it?" "It was in my desk when they cleared out the office." He placed it carefully on my desk. "I should have given it back sooner." "You should have done a lot of things sooner." He winced. "I deserve that. I deserve all of it. But I'm not here to make excuses." "Then why are you here?" "I saw your TechCrunch interview, the part about second chances and ethical business practices." He swallowed hard. "I want to learn from you." I laughed, but it came out harsh. "Learn what? How to not steal from your family?" "I earned that too." He sat heavily in one of my visitor chairs. "But I'm serious, Marin. What you've built here. It's everything I pretended ParkerConnect would be. You're actually helping people." A notification popped up on my screen. Another success story submission. I turned the monitor so Eric could see. "Read it," I said. His eyes scanned the text. "EmpowerLink saved my business after ParkerConnect nearly bankrupted it. The difference? One app cared about profit, the other cares about people." "There are hundreds more like that," I told him. "Women who trusted your empty promises and paid the price." "I know." He ran a hand through his hair. "That's why I'm here. I want to make it right." "How?" "The money's gone." Jasper disappeared with what was left. "Not with money." He pulled out his laptop. "With this." He opened a document, pages of detailed notes about ParkerConnect's mistakes, the predatory practices Jasper had pushed, the warning signs they'd ignored. "It's a manual of what not to do," he explained. "Every unethical decision, every shortcut we took." I thought, maybe it could help other startups avoid our mistakes. I stared at him. "You want to publish this?" "With your help. Maybe as a case study on EmpowerLink's blog, a warning to other entrepreneurs." Before I could respond, my office door burst open. Cora strode in, then stopped short at the sight of Eric. "Sorry, I didn't know you had him here." Her voice turned cold. "I can come back." "No, stay," I said. Eric was just sharing an interesting proposal. I explained his idea. Cora's expression shifted from hostility to thoughtful consideration. "Actually," she said slowly, "that could be powerful, especially coming from you." She turned to Eric. "Assuming you're willing to be completely honest about everything." "That's the point," he replied. "No sugarcoating. No excuses." My phone buzzed. Abigail reminding me about the investor meeting in 10 minutes. "I need to think about this," I told Eric. "It's not just about you and me anymore. I have users to protect, a reputation to maintain." "I understand." He stood up, gathering his things. "Just, thank you for seeing me." "And Marin, what you said in your Forbes interview about success being measured by impact, not income. You were right. You were always right." After he left, Cora perched on my desk. "Well, that was unexpected." "What do you think?" I asked. "About his proposal?" "I think," she said carefully, "that redemption stories can be powerful if they're genuine. And having the guy who chose profit over people admit he was wrong? That could reinforce everything EmpowerLink stands for." My screen lit up with another success story notification. Another woman whose life had changed because I'd chosen to rebuild, rather than seek revenge. "Maybe," I said, picking up the napkin Eric had left behind. "Some bridges aren't meant to stay burned." "Just don't let him anywhere near the code," Cora grinned, heading for the door. "Once a thief." "No," I smiled, tucking the napkin into my desk drawer. "This time he'll have to earn his way back. One honest step at a time." The Rise and Fall of ParkerConnect, a cautionary tale by Eric, went live on our blog at exactly noon. Within hours, it crashed our servers. 20,000 shares in the first hour, Abigail announced, monitoring the analytics. TechCrunch already picked it up. Twitter's going crazy. I watched Eric's hands shake as he read the comments pouring in. We were in the EmpowerLink conference room, surrounded by empty coffee cups and the remains of stress-eaten pastries. "Look at this one." Cora pointed to a comment. "As someone who lost money to ParkerConnect, this transparency is unexpected but appreciated. The detailed breakdown of what went wrong actually helps me trust EmpowerLink more." Eric's voice was rough. They don't all feel that way. He was right. For every positive comment, there were 3 angry ones. Former users demanding refunds, investors calling for legal action, people questioning whether he deserved a platform for redemption. That's the point, I said. Real accountability isn't comfortable. My phone buzzed, Holly requesting an interview with both of us. Before I could respond, Mom burst into the conference room. Have you seen this? She waved her tablet, showing a major business publication's headline. Former tech CEO's confession sparks industry, debate on ethics. Mom, what are you doing here? Supporting both my children, she said firmly, setting down a fresh box of donuts. Finally, Eric's phone rang, his lawyer. He stepped out to take the call, leaving me alone with Mom. The house sale closes next week, she said quietly. Between that and your father's new job, we'll manage. You don't need to. The transfer's already done. I cut her off. Consider it a loan if you want, but I'm not watching you and Dad lose everything. Eric returned, looking pale. The investors, they're willing to settle, said the article showed good faith effort to acknowledge wrongdoing. That's great news. Mom hugged him. There's more, he continued, looking at me. 3 startup accelerators want me to speak about ethical business practices. They think my experience could help other founders avoid similar mistakes. Abigail snorted. Talk about failing upward. No, I said, surprising myself by defending him. It's exactly what we needed. Real change happens when people learn from their mistakes, not when we bury them. My laptop chimed with an urgent message from our development team. The blog post's viral spread had brought unexpected attention to our platform's other features. Sign-ups are through the roof, Cora reported, checking the numbers, especially from venture capitalists wanting to join our ethical funding marketplace. They see the engagement metrics, Abigail added. Hard to argue with real success. Eric sat heavily in a chair. I still can't believe you built all this while I was busy destroying everything. Speaking of building, I pulled up our project board. We need someone to head our new ethics compliance division, someone who knows exactly what not to do. The room went quiet. Eric stared at me. Are you serious? 3-month trial period, full background checks, 0 access to sensitive data, and you'll report directly to Cora. Who will watch him like a hawk? Cora added cheerfully. Why? Eric's voice cracked. After everything I did. Because you're not the only startup founder who'll face these temptations, but you might be one of the few willing to admit exactly how and why you failed. Mom wiped tears from her eyes. My children, working together again. Don't celebrate yet, I warned. He has to prove himself first. Eric straightened in his chair. I won't let you down, not again. Prove it, Cora challenged, starting with these. She dropped a stack of ethics guidelines on the table. Read them, learn them, live them. My phone buzzed again, Dad this time. Saw the article. Proud of both of you. Family dinner Sunday? As I typed back a yes, another notification popped up. A message from a young entrepreneur. Your brother's article made me rethink my entire business strategy. Thank you for showing that success and integrity aren't mutually exclusive. Okay, people, I stood up addressing my team. Moment's over. We've got servers to upgrade, new users to onboard, and an ethics division to build. Let's show everyone what real tech leadership looks like. Eric picked up the ethics guidelines, determination replacing the shame in his eyes. Where do I start? With the basics, I said, pointing to rule number 1. Build to help, not to profit. The irony, he smiled sadly, is that you proved helping others is the most profitable path of all. Now that, Cora grinned, sounds like someone who might actually be learning. And now, please welcome our keynote speaker for the Ethics in Tech Summit, Holly announced to the packed auditorium, the founder of EmpowerLink, Marin. I walked onto the stage, remembering a different conference room where Eric had once stolen my dreams. Today, he sat in the front row beside our parents, wearing his Ethics Compliance Director badge. When people ask me about EmpowerLink's success, I began, they often expect a story about revenge, about proving someone wrong. Instead, I want to tell you about proving something right. The screens behind me lit up with our latest initiative, a partnership with 10 major tech companies to implement ethical development standards. Last week, our millionth user signed up, I continued. Not because we had the biggest marketing budget or the flashiest features, but because we never lost sight of our mission, helping real people build real futures. In the audience, Cora nodded, her own company's logo now prominently displayed among our success stories. Beside her, Abigail gave me a subtle thumbs up. But numbers aren't what I'm most proud of, I said, clicking to the next slide. This is. The screen showed Eric teaching a room full of startup founders. His cautionary tale transformed into a powerful lesson about integrity and accountability. Sometimes our greatest failures can lead to our most important contributions. I gestured toward him. Would you join me up here, Eric? He looked startled but made his way to the stage. We hadn't planned this, but some moments demand spontaneity. 6 months into his role as ethics director, I told the audience, my brother flagged a potential privacy issue in our new feature. His recommendation meant delaying the launch, losing a major investment opportunity. But he stood his ground. Eric cleared his throat. Because some costs are too high, no matter the potential profit. The same brother who once chose profit over ethics just saved our company from making a similar mistake. That's not just redemption, that's evolution. Mom was crying in the front row. Dad wrapped an arm around her shoulders, beaming with pride. Today, I continued, I'm announcing the launch of the EmpowerLink Foundation. Our first initiative? A fund to help entrepreneurs recover from business failures and start over, the right way. The audience erupted in applause. Eric turned to me, shock evident on his face. You're using your success to help people like me? He whispered. No, I corrected him. I'm using our success to prevent more people from becoming like you were. Big difference. Holly stepped up to the podium. Before we conclude, I have an announcement. The Tech Ethics Board has just unanimously approved EmpowerLink's development standards as the industry benchmark. Congratulations, Marin and Eric. After the presentation, we gathered in my office. My parents, Eric, Abigail, Cora, and me. The city lights twinkled below, but the real brightness was in the faces around me. I have something for you, Eric said, pulling out a familiar napkin, the one with my original app sketch. He'd had it framed, along with a handwritten note. Sometimes the best revenge is helping others succeed. It's not about revenge anymore, I said, hanging it on my office wall. It's about responsibility. Speaking of responsibility, Cora chimed in, wait until you see the applications for our mentorship program. Over 1,000 women signed up after today's announcement. My phone buzzed. Another success story submission. I read it aloud. EmpowerLink didn't just help me start my business. It showed me that second chances are possible when you're willing to learn from your mistakes. That's your real legacy, Dad said proudly. Not just the app, but the example you've set. Both of you, Mom added, looking between Eric and me. In different ways. Eric's phone chimed with an ethics consultation request from another startup. Never thought my biggest failure would become my most valuable expertise, he mused. That's because you finally learned the most important lesson, Abigail said, pulling up our company manifesto on the wall screen. Success isn't about what you gain. It's about what you give, I finished, and how you give it. Looking around at my family, both blood and chosen, I realized something profound. The betrayal that once threatened to destroy us had instead forced us to rebuild something stronger. Not just a company or a relationship, but a new way of defining success. All right, enough sentiment, Cora announced, pulling out her tablet. We have a foundation to launch, standards to implement, and about 10,000 new users to onboard. And a family dinner to get to, Mom reminded us. I made your favorite pasta. As we headed out, I glanced back at the framed napkin. The sketch was faded, but the dream it represented had never been clearer. Sometimes the best victories aren't about winning or losing, but about transforming the entire game. And we were just getting started.